Doesn't
5 or
matter.
6, here we are. Let's do it.
Episode 5/6.
It's episode 6. Full Court Press, episode 6. We are back after a 1-week hiatus. Guys, how was your Thanksgiving?
So fun. Great break. Very wholesome.
Yeah.
Nothing too crazy.
Yeah, so I didn't really do shit. I ain't gonna lie. I stayed at home. I relaxed. Got a good little mental takeaway from fucking school and everything that has to offer. So we're here though. We're here now, and we're talking about hoops again. So that's always a good sign.
Yeah, a lot of hoops to get into. We've had some big games in the NBA. We had a good game last night between the Bucks and the Hornets. So I think we'll do some weekly shout-outs. Kens, who are you shouting out from this past week?
I'm going to shout out LaMelo. He had a great game against the Bucks. Obviously, they didn't come out on top, but he's like maturing faster than I think anyone really expected he was going to in this league. Shot almost 55% from the field, 53% from the three, 36 points on the night. And, you know, when he was shooting like Steph Curry threes last night. Like, he showed confidence. He was looking really good. I think the Hornets are like one serious trade away from being a real contending team. Like, I think building a team around him and Bridges showed out too. So although it was a loss, I think it was a really good game for that team, especially LaMelo.
Yeah, the Hornets are definitely showing some potential. And with the trade deadline coming up in a few weeks, maybe they can find their guy.
Maybe.
We'll get more into that later. My shout-out's going to come from that game as well. I appreciate you shouting out a Charlotte guy.
Of course.
LaMelo's he's a baller, and he actually had a good showing against his brother Lonzo when they played the Bulls this past weekend. But I'm gonna go with Giannis. The Bucks won by 2 points last night, and Giannis went off for 40 points. He scored four more points than LaMelo did to be the leading scorer that game. Had a near triple-double, 12 rebounds, 9 assists. But Giannis is showing that he hasn't gone anywhere, and he's still the NBA Finals MVP that he deserves to be, and he had a great showing. So that's my weekly shout-out.
The ending was crazy, too, by the way.
Yeah,
Giannis gets the off-balance layup to go ahead, and then Bridges pulls it from half court. It twirls around the basket and it falls out. I was like, damn, I know Tav's going through it right now.
Yeah. It would have been a big win,
tough.
too. I mean, both teams, like, even though you wouldn't think that the Hornets and the Bucks are fighting for a spot in the East, but that win was because they both had 13 wins going into the night, and now the Bucks are just one game ahead of them.
That would be a really interesting 7-series game. Like, I'd love to see those. I think the Bucks would come out on top, but regardless, I think that would be a fun series to watch for sure.
Yeah, it would be, especially with the way that the Hornets are playing now. A lot of guys have stepped up. Another team where a lot of guys have stepped up on are the Phoenix Suns, who have proven themselves to be the best team in the NBA. And I think, LJ, you want to go that way for your shout-out?
Yeah, that's where my weekly shout-out is going to lie. D-Book going crazy this past week, averaging 30 points a game, 53% from the field and 56% from three, which is absolutely nuts. And him and CP3 doing the damn thing, man. 17-game streak. They haven't lost since October, I want to say like in about 2026, maybe.
No loss November.
Yeah, no loss November, baby. That's how they're feeling right now. But I have some reservations about the Suns, only because they have had the third easiest schedule in the NBA so far, and I'm gonna give them credit though. I mean, they've been doing well. I mean, they're the most accurate shooting team in the league right now statistically, so that matters, right?
Yeah.
Get Aiden averaging 16 and 12, CP3 averaging 14 and 11. You got D-Book averaging 23, and he's shooting 47% from the field. So the big three is doing it, but more than the big three though, their bench players have been doing it too.
Yeah.
The Suns have 9 guys that are averaging 8.5 or more, which is crazy.
That's solid.
That's crazy. You got guys like Cam Johnson, Crowder, Fred Kaminsky, Cameron Payne, JaVale McGee. Even JaVale McGee's averaging 10 points right now.
Yeah, and even, the stats for the overall season so far, but if you look at Booker and Chris Paul in the clutch, I mean, they're phenomenal. The Suns have been in clutch situations 7 or 8, 9 times this season, and they've come out on top practically every time. Booker is shooting 73% from the field in clutch situations, CP 67, Chris Paul's just making good decisions when it matters in the fourth quarter. And although it's a simple stat and a simple observation, Chris Paul's just making his free throws in the fourth quarter, and that's winning him games, especially against the Warriors.
Yeah. He's definitely stepped into his role in Phoenix extremely well. And I think their clutch genes come from their run in the playoffs last year, making it to the NBA Finals. I think that run taught them a lot.
Right.
Personally, I didn't think that they'd be back at the top of the West.
Let's keep it real. I mean, everybody attributed the Suns' success to the Denver being down, Clippers being down, Lakers being down.
Definitely.
And they have not had a finals hangover so far. And they're 18-3, and they're just rolling right on through.
Yeah.
So
they have a chip on their shoulder. I think they feel a little disrespected that people don't credit them for getting to the finals because of what they were doing. They say, oh, all the injuries that were in the West. So they're a little upset about that, and I think that's motivating them, which is great to see. I mean, we don't even talk about this team like they were in the finals last year. Right. I mean, I admit it. Like, we really don't give them the time of day that they deserve, and I think they're taking it and running with it.
Yeah, and the thing is, they're the best team in the league, and they proved it on Tuesday night when they played the Warriors. The two best records, it was 18-3 versus 17. It was 18-2 versus 17-3, and I mean it was a star-studded showdown, and that was a lot of fun to watch. The Suns came out on top. They won by 6 points.
Yeah, and like LJ said, they have played a relatively easy schedule, but Tuesday night, I mean, they silenced us on that. Obviously, there's more basketball to be played, but showing up against a team like the Warriors gives me a lot more hope that they are really that legit.
Yeah, definitely.
I think they're in a good position where they know how their team operates. They haven't changed too much since last year. There's teams like the Lakers who have a lot to figure out, but they're just kind of rolling with what they know, and it's working to their advantage.
Definitely. Another showdown between the Warriors and the Suns on Friday night. Should be fun to watch. Do we think the Warriors can get some revenge, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, go ahead, LJ.
I think that depends on what the Suns do tonight. They play Detroit. I think if they go out and ball against Detroit, they'll get it done on Friday as well. But if they go out there and lay an egg tonight, they'll be kind of demotivated to go out there and have to play, Steph Curry and those boys on that side. Thing about the Warriors too, man, is that they've had the fourth easiest schedule in the NBA. So the two best teams in the league are in the bottom 10% scheduling wise. But I do think that the Warriors, have the slight edge over the Suns because they have the probable MVP Steph Curry on their team. He's like the ultimate X factor.
Yeah.
He can take over a game, unlike Chris Paul and D-Book. D-Book can, but not to the same extent that Curry can.
Right. I give it to the Suns for, Mikal Bridges was awesome on Curry last night. They kind of swallowed him in the second half of the game, but it's hard to tell, was Curry just not playing well, or was the Suns defense really that good against him? So that's what I think Friday night will be a deciding factor of. Was the Suns defense that good, or is Curry about to come and blow this game out of the water?
If you can figure out how to guard Curry, it's going to take you places, especially in the Western Conference. Steph was shut down to just 12 points, probably his worst shooting night of the year. So they're going to get their rematch. He's going to get his revenge maybe in Golden State on Friday. We'll see if he can get it done, or maybe the Suns have his number. We'll see.
The Warriors forced 23 turnovers for 19 points for the Suns 2 nights ago. So if they can eliminate that factor and Curry can play the way he usually plays, I think this is the Warriors game without a doubt on Friday.
Yeah, Vegas definitely likes it. They're 6.5-point favorites. And let me know what you guys think about this. I think that this is shaping up to be a Western Conference Finals preview with easily the two best
They play
records.
So much this month. They play Friday and then Christmas.
That's a bold claim, Tap. I'm not gonna lie.
Based on the records right now, I have no reason to believe that there's going to be a team that steps in. And obviously there's a lot of basketball to play, but these look like the two best teams in the league, let alone the two best teams in the West.
I feel like the number one seed hasn't won a ring for an indie conference in a minute. Or is it just me? It's like, if you actually think about it.
Were the Lakers the number one in the bubble?
I don't think so. I think they were two, because Denver was number one. I think being the
Golden State was
probably
one.
8 17, 18, but recently it's been kind of a curse. Like the Utah Jazz, going to the playoffs, but no one took them seriously for it anyway. Like the Jazz were the Jazz.
We went into this season like the Nets and the Lakers. Like, these are the super teams, and it's not really the way it seems to be going right now.
Right.
So
Speaking of LA, like they literally had the easiest schedule for this first quarter of the season, and they're 12-11.
mm-hmm.
Like that should tell you all you need to know. I mean, I was honestly surprised when I read that stat, but
Right.
if you should have been going through that portion of the schedule and having success. Like, you should have only probably lost like 5-6 games max.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the fact that they're only a game over 500 is worrisome, especially if you got the old team that they have, like D. Howard and Russell Westbrook and LeBron, all those guys that, you know, they can still keep pace with the younger guys, but it takes a lot more effort too.
Yeah.
So.
Right. I mean, that could be a team that come December 15th is looking into some trades. Maybe not major trades, but some minor things.
Yeah, going on to the trade talk, December 15th is coming around the corner. That's the trade deadline. Kenz, do you see any teams, any trade rumors out there?
Yeah, there's a couple. It's not as crazy as it was last season, I would say, by any means. A couple teams in the East, I'd say Dennis Schroeder on the Celtics. They signed him for a deal. He's playing great, so I think his market value is going to go up. But they already have so much money set away for Tatum, Brown, Smart. I think he could be a guy that they potentially see going if Boston is still struggling. I'd say the Pistons. The Pistons have a couple of veterans that they could look to sell after that December 15th date. Kelly Olynyk, great stretch 5 guy to have on your bench. But those Pistons are kind of working on the younger guys. So you have Isaiah Stewart in the center, and same with Corey Joseph. He could go. He's another solid backup, but they're looking to give Cade Cunningham the ball right now. So I don't think they're really focused on him. Frank Jackson. So they have a couple of veterans that could possibly be in that trade talk. And then the Knicks, Kemba Walker was, they got him as a starter. And he's really not performing. Offensively, it's working out. I'd say defensively, it's not really. I don't know if they can go a whole season with Alex Burks as a point guard, but that's one that who knows. But I wouldn't take him out of that talk by any means.
It's a lot to unpack there, but I do want to go back to the Boston because that is kind of interesting to me.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you're Danny Ainge, it's time to blow up the JB Jason Tatum experiment, right? They've been together for 5-6 years now, and they've been stuck in a place where they're better than most of the league, but they can't get over the hump. And that's a terrible place to be in. You don't want to be stuck in mediocrity for a whole decade, or at least half a decade for that matter. So I think if I'm Danny Ainge, I'm building the team around Tatum, and I'm shipping Jaylen Brown off to somewhere where you can be at least, if not number one option, be a very good number 2 on a contending team. And like you said, Dennis Schroeder. I'm trying to think what would be some good locations for him to go to though if he were to leave Boston. Like there's not really a team that sticks out in my mind right now that I could think of for him to go to. So.
I think the thing is, teams would take him because his market value is kind of like, his budget is pretty low. So I think that makes him more attractive to teams right now. He was signed for a steal, and they won't be able to pay him that much come the off season. So
which
I think that's
teams
what
need a
makes him
backup point
attractive.
guard right now though? That's the question.
Yeah.
Philly.
And when I
No.
Speaking of Philly, you got Ben Simmons, who has just dominated the
Poster
trade.
child of the trade talk.
Dominated the trade rumors. Coming from our Philly insider, Kansas, is he going to be gone? And I said December 15th was the trade deadline. It's not. The trade deadline's in February.
Right. It's the opening of the offseason.
The opening of the offseason trade. So, is there any chance that Simmons is gone?
I said earlier, weeks and weeks ago, he was going to stay definitely through the fall into December. I think this month, this window is the time when, if it happens, it will. And if not, they're going to hold on to him for years until they really, I don't think they're budging until something comes along. I'd say potential trade rumors would be the Nuggets with Jamal Murray. Although he has an ACL injury, I think the Nuggets lack a defensive stopper like Simmons, and that's what Simmons has to offer to them on their roster. They haven't had someone like that for a couple years, I would say, and the Sixers are obviously in need of a go-to guard, someone to take the heat off Embiid and keep him from getting exhausted.
And someone to give that last shot to, and I think Jamal Murray is that guy.
Right. And for the Nuggets, they're undermanned right now. Like, they are hurt, and I think there's a sense of urgency for them to get a guy up top that is ready to play and is healthy. And for the Sixers, there's not as much urgency. Like, they could take an injured player and, later in the season have him. So I think that could make sense. Who knows? I mean, obviously the Celtics rumor kind of fizzled, trading Jason Tatum. That would be great for Philly, but I don't see that happening. They're asking for too much for sure.
Here's why Simmons to Denver will not happen. Daryl Morey thinks that Jamal Murray is not a big enough draw for Simmons.
Right.
And that's
I mean, it'd come along with a couple first-round picks.
I think it'd have to.
Yeah.
The thing is, Daryl Morey's mind is so off to the left right now because he thinks that Simmons is worth like a Jason Tatum.
Right.
And that's just not the case anymore. It might have been a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, but after the last playoff run, we could all tell that he was just a liability.
Yeah, not even the playoff run, just the way he's handled the situation the past few months. No one wants to deal with a guy like that. And that's hurting him.
So the thing, I mean, obviously the Denver Nuggets are struggling, but with Jamal Murray, eventually he'll come back from his injury. Do we think that other teams that are struggling and look like they're going to stay struggling may start to give a little more for Simmons just to have more talent right now?
Right. I mean, I remember teams we talked about earlier. We talked about Memphis a little. I think that's out. I think they're playing well relative to what they should be. Definitely. So I don't think they need to mess with what they're doing by any means. But no one's sticking out to me screaming, oh my God, we need a point guard right now, other than Denver just being hurt.
Yeah.
Unless I'm missing a team. Is anyone?
I mean, Sacramento maybe. They have a lot of guys that they could give up.
Right.
I don't want to see Ben's talent wasted in Sacramento, though.
Yeah, but it's getting wasted even more right now.
Right, yeah, at least we can get him on the court.
That's just a dumpster fire organization.
Yeah.
The Kings have not been good in forever.
I can't remember a time.
2003 when they had Mike Bibby and Stojakovic. Like, it's been forever.
Yeah. No, Ben Simmons' agent also would not let him go there, I have a feeling. He's just as stubborn as Daryl. Like, they're being stubborn. I get it. I don't think they are afraid to hold out for years if that's what it takes. And that's what he warned us for.
That's just hurting his organization about doing that. That's the dumbest thing that he could do.
I know.
I think it's going to wait. It's going to prolong even more to January and then into February up till the trade deadline. But a league that does not have to worry about any trade deadlines, the only thing they have to worry about is the transfer portal, and that's college basketball. We've had some good college hoops going on over Thanksgiving. There were some good games. Duke and Gonzaga played Gonzaga and UCLA, where before that Duke, after beating number 1 Gonzaga, got that number 1 spot. They ended up losing to Ohio State 2 nights ago in the ACC Big Ten Challenge. But there's been a lot of good college basketball on too that we definitely have to shed some light on.
No, that Ohio State game was nuts. I think that was Coach K's. I mean, that was his final non-conference road game of his career. It's a loss, so that's tough. Ohio State storming the court after they beat them. That's got to be fun. I love a good underdog win. You know that. So.
Here's the thing, though, is that I know that Paul Ventura is doing everything he fucking can to lead that team. Problem is that nobody else is contributing for real. There's a couple guys that are here and there. But
I don't know.
They don't have any depth though.
They do.
It's very top heavy to me.
It's definitely top heavy, but you have guys like Mark.
It's freshman heavy too.
Mark Williams, Trevor.
Well, that's every college basketball team.
Right.
Especially Duke though.
Yeah.
Especially Duke. Yeah. But I will say you got Mark Williams, Trevor Keels. They have a veteran in. Wendell Moore. They have some guys that have stepped up. I wouldn't say that Paulo Banchero is definitely their best player. He's one of the best in the nation right now. But I think Duke does have enough players that can get them to where they're going.
I mean, I don't think if their freshmen aren't playing well, they're not successful. I think that the 3-star freshmen were 7 for 27 from the field last night, so combined. So they also didn't score in the last 4 minutes and 30 seconds at all.
I will say the Nut House was rocking. Yeah. Ohio State, they had a good turnout.
Yeah. Did you guys hear that Banchero loses 7 pounds per game?
Really?
Holly Rowe said that, and they were talking about it, but he has all those cramping issues, and they were researching it. They're like, why is this happening? He loses 7 pounds per game
Oh my
in 2 hours.
gosh. Does he just sweat it all
Suddenly, I'm so intrigued to play basketball. I don't know. Isn't that nuts, though? I feel like that can't be real. Anyway,
Hey,
that was
I
just a
didn't know
weird
that.
fact.
That's crazy though.
That's how I feel after I play 2 hours of pickup, though.
Yeah.
For being real.
I mean,
Oh,
speaking of this Duke team, like, how do you think they are? Obviously, the number 1, number 2 projected team, but how much improvement do you really think they have since last year?
Well, they're a completely different team than last year. That's the thing.
Right.
With all the new freshmen, Duke was bad last year. Like
Right.
they were so bad they didn't even make the tournament.
Yeah.
I think they're hands down better
Mhm.
team than they were last year. Just with their new freshmen, and then with more veteran leadership with guys coming back like Joey Baker and Wendell Moore, which they're not really used to having guys
Come back.
that
Yeah.
like actually get playing time. So I think the progress is.
Right. Do you still have them as a number 1 team, you think, or would you put Purdue or Gonzaga ahead of them?
I don't know who the number 1 team in college basketball is right now,
It's
and
the best
apparently, yes, the
Right.
Associated Press doesn't either because it's changed. It seems that like every week, almost every night. Gonzaga probably has the most talent right now. Duke just showed up in Vegas on Friday night, and I think we're just gonna have to let the season play out right now. But I can tell you, it's not Purdue. I mean, they're the number 1 team right now, but Purdue's not going to stay there.
Why are they number 1? Is their schedule, has it been?
Well, they have some returning players.
Mhm.
They have some talent. They're a good basketball team, but once the season shakes out, I think we're going to see a team like Gonzaga retake that number 1 spot, and then run with it for a little bit.
Yeah.
Another team in Ohio that had a huge win in college basketball was Dayton over Kansas. Buzzer beater, love to see it. I watched that game live too, and it was very entertaining. Kansas had a considerable lead in the first half, and they blew it.
Mm-hmm.
Man, Dayton just fought. They fought their ass off to get back in the game, and then they won it. So props to them. How does that impact Kansas? Probably nothing at all. I think they'll be able to bounce back pretty easy, and they have been bouncing back pretty easy. I think they've lost since that game. I'm trying to look up the Kansas the stats, but the computer's tweaking. But yeah, so
It's early in the season. The good thing about all basketball, both college and NBA, there's a lot of games. One game right now is not going to affect whether or not you make the NCAA tournament or whether or not you're a top 8 seed and make the playoffs. But it's been a chaotic start to the college basketball season, and it's been fun.
Yeah, that's what college basketball is about, though. That's what I like about. We could do a pros and cons list of NBA versus college basketball, but that is what I enjoy about college.
yeah, what I was trying to say about Kansas is their best player. I'm gonna have to find my way to pronounce his name, but Okai Agbaji, is that how you say it?
Sounds right.
Yeah, something like that. He's averaging 23 points in college basketball, which is a crazy amount. So, but yeah. Moving on. Oh, also, Gonzaga is playing Bama this weekend. Bama just had a bad loss, so
A very bad loss.
yeah, I'm not expecting.
Shout out Rick Pitino.
I'm not expecting
And
much.
Iona.
Just for that reason, Gonzaga's probably gonna mount the floor with us, but gotta stay hopeful though.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
a credit to Gonzaga. They play in not a Power 5 conference, so they don't have a lot of good teams. St. Mary's is really the only relevant team in their conference. So they do a very good job of scheduling good teams out of conference before like teams start playing all conference play. So I mean, they've played number 2 UCLA, they played number 5 Duke, who ended up moving up to number 1. Now they're playing Bama, who is a top 25 team. I think it's really good for Mark Few's squad that they're playing all these top teams day in and day out, and I think it's a great preparation for March, especially because they don't get that during the second half of their season.
It's like a Notre Dame Clemson football kind of situation where you have to take it into your own hands to prepare yourself for playoffs.
Yeah, exactly.
And lastly, Memphis losing back-to-back games after starting 5-0. I could care less about the Iowa State loss. We gotta talk about UGA, the home team, beating Memphis by 3 last night. We rocked the stake out. It's a
Yeah.
great environment. For those of y'all who don't know, me and Taff both work for UJ's athletic department, so we were there
Taff got a little ESPN
watching.
camera
Taff got
time.
a little ESPN cam time, man.
Amani Bates was in my face. So we'll be, if this podcast is still going on in 2 years, we'll be talking about him being maybe a number 1 overall draft pick. But it was cool to see Memphis. They have so many NBA studs on their bench. Penny Hardaway is their coach. He's an NBA legend. Rasheed Wallace is an assistant who won a title with the Pistons in 2004. Larry Brown was the coach of that team, who's an assistant coach for Memphis now. Just a lot of former NBA players and future NBA players, but the Dogs beat them. So it was a fun night in the Stag for sure.
It was funny because Bates had got a crazy and one, and he literally stared in the lens of the camera and just like flexed his muscle. It was kind of dope.
Yeah.
So Taff got a little TV moment. But yeah.
Moving on to some more games. Some games that we're going to try and predict. I wouldn't have predicted Georgia winning last night.
No.
So we're going to try and predict this one a little better. Thursday night locks. Thursday/Friday if you want to go for tomorrow night's lines too. What are we locking down for the next couple days for NBA games?
I have OKC plus 9.5 in Memphis.
Okay.
I mean, let's
See?
not forget that OKC beat the Lakers twice. I'm not saying they win, but I think 9.5 is a
See,
disrespectful.
she had me
score.
there for a second, and she took me right back down. She was like, "They're not going to win," but
Hey,
I think it's
Yeah.
disrespectful to make the line the spread 9.5.
especially for Memphis. Like, what?
Yeah.
Is
I
Memphis
mean,
giving me enough
They're
to
not
think
giving
that
me
they
enough.
can cover a
Yeah.
10-point spread?
it's the job show though, so you never know sometimes.
It is, yeah, that's true. Do we think the way the NBA games have gone so far this season that you're expecting an upset when you watch a game, or are you expecting it to be a dogfight?
Wait, what'd you say?
Are you when you turn on a game in the NBA,
Right,
say you
right,
randomly watch this game not knowing the spread, are you expecting it to be a dogfight and expecting it to go down to the wire, or are you expecting a blowout? Based on how other games have gone this season.
I
say
expect a
dogfight.
dogfight,
This
yeah.
this year particularly, you got dogfight
Yeah.
for sure. In the past, it's been blowouts, but now
Which is
no.
why
The only team that I feel like hasn't been in a dogfight consistently is the Suns. I mean,
They've been so good.
they've been
Yeah.
taking
Beating
care of the
everybody's
team.
ass.
Right. I mean, there's teams that need to be taken care of, and teams will beat them, but not everyone blows them out. And the Suns have really taken care of every single underdog team they've played, I think.
LJ, what's your lock for Thursday night?
My lock is I'm gonna take the Bulls to cover the spread of -2 against the Knicks. They're at MSG. And the reason for that is the Bulls this year on the road are 7-4 against the spread. And on the flip side, the Knicks are 4-7 against the spread at home. So it's in the Bulls' favor. I think they get it done. I think Lonzo and DeMar have a good game. I think Julius has a bad game. I'm going to say Julius scores less than 20. And the Bulls get the win at MSG. I'll go ahead and say about 8 or 9. That's my luck. I'm locking it in. Bulls cover against New York Knicks tonight.
All right.
What about you?
So I'm going to go with a game on Friday. Usually, something that we've experienced doing these locks, they only come out with the games for this night, that night, which is annoying.
Yeah. I mean,
But
it
it's-
makes sense if the team's playing
Yeah.
the next night.
But because it's Thursday and tomorrow's Friday and some teams aren't playing both days, they've come out with some lines for Friday. I'm going to go there. We've talked about the Suns and the Lakers for a lot of this podcast.
Warriors.
The Suns and the Warriors, excuse me. I've said the Lakers because I'm used to thinking the best team in the West.
So
Anyways,
silly of you to assume.
I know, right? Especially this year.
Yeah.
The Warriors are 6.5-point favorites against the Suns. Why are they 6.5-point favorites? They just lost to this team 2 nights ago. I can't explain it, so that's why I'm gonna bet the Warriors to cover 6.5. This is just one of
Vegas
those
has to,
games
yeah.
where Vegas knows something. Why are you gonna make a team a favorite after losing 3 days prior because it'll be Tuesday and
When the
Friday?
spread's that bizarre, there's always something we don't know.
The game's going back to Golden State. Curry had probably his worst shooting night of the year. I think he's going to have some revenge like we were talking about earlier. He's going to go off, drop probably 40 points, and the Warriors are going to win by double digits at home.
Wow.
And I don't think the experts expect the Suns to beat them twice in a row. I think that's a big portion of it, but still, 6.5 is a hell of a lot considering that they just lost to the Suns.
If the Suns can shut down Curry again,
That won't happen though.
I don't. Not that I think it will, but
It'd
if
be a
they
statement.
can, it will be hell of a statement.
Hey, I'll be happy as hell if that happens.
Yeah.
Look, I'll
That's
be
a long
completely
defense.
happy,
Yeah.
but
That's a long defense. I mean, those are long guys. Did I tell you guys Mikal Bridges comes to where I work in the summer in Jersey? I have
Yeah.
a picture with him. We gotta post it. It can be the
you just now mentioned this the whole time we've been in here.
The whole time we've been talking about
He's
Miguel
cool
Because I was
guy.
on the fantasy team and all that. You didn't say not one word
No,
about
really
it?
nice guy. Villanova guy. He's a man of the people in Philly.
Man of the people.
Man of the people. Yeah, I mean Villanova.
Philly fanatic.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of Villanova, they've been pretty good in college basketball too.
Yeah.
Consistently top 10.
Right.
Now it's time for our full court press log. We haven't prepared one, but I think we just said it. Steph Curry over in the point total.
No, I'm not going with Warriors. I can't go Warriors.
just Steph Curry.
No.
He
I still
can't do just
go.
Steph Curry. He's given us enough. He's already
I
admitting he's an
can't-
MVP favorite. It's too much for LJ.
Bet with the Warriors ever, no matter what the situation is.
You are just stubborn.
I am very stubborn, so I'm not picking the Warriors. But instead, what we could do,
What are the Friday spreads?
We have LA and the Clippers. LA Clippers are -2. They're 2-point favorites against the Lakers. Both teams are terrible covering the spread this year. That's why I kind of want to stay away. But we've been successful betting against the Lakers so far this year. So we could go Clippers -2. Definitely not betting for the Lakers there. Philly is in Atlanta, which is a game
How did I forget that?
we're
I
all
thought
gonna
about
be-
going. Yeah.
we're all going to be in Atlanta this weekend. Are you going, OJ?
No, I'm not going.
Well, we're all going to be in
Yeah.
Georgia. That's a
Big
fact.
weekend for us Georgia
And
kids.
your Phillies are going down to go play.
Phillies? You mean the
Yeah,
Sixers?
Phillies.
Sixers.
He got his mind on baseball.
No,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
definitely don't. Sixers are going down.
Yeah.
What do we think about that game? Vegas has the Hawks as a 1.5 point
I'll
favorite.
take Hawks on that one all day.
Yeah. As
Especially
much
that
as
1.5, yeah.
my heart says Sixers, my head says take the Hawks -1. What is it, -1.5?
-1.5.
I won't do it, but I think that's what the team should do.
All right,
It makes
that's
sense.
all we
Lock it
needed.
in.
To have
You got the
Oh,
vote of confidence.
Speaking
right
of,
there.
I
have the
mean-
Sixers girl go against her team. That's what we're doing.
They really made me upset against the Celtics. That was just a game of who sucks the least. Like, that was just, I mean, there were so many just malfunctions. Like, the net malfunctions. They, like, stopped the game in the third quarter. It was
Weird
just
game.
bad. It was bad.
Yeah.
And the excuses are running out because we're healthy now. So now I'm like, we were almost playing better when we weren't healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh.
They're right on that line of 500.
Mhm.
We can see
As
if
of
they
right
can get
now,
over it.
they wouldn't even be a wild card pick if playoffs started tomorrow. But we got a lot of basketball left. I think we're over a quarter into the season, so
A lot of basketball.
a
And
lot of
we'll be-
basketball to play.
And we will be there to cover it all. But today's podcast was fun, talking about the Suns.
Mhm.
We're going to recap Friday's game definitely next week. We'll see if the Suns are legit or Steph Curry can get his revenge.
Mhm.
Other than basketball, though, it's Christmas time. I'm getting excited for it. I mean,
Really, LJ?
only because we were at the game last night and they were playing Christmas music like during the timeouts during the basketball game.
You love Mariah Carey, don't you?
Yes, I do. She's amazing. Or at least
I will say
That's
Georgia
version.
went on a run last night and it was hyped. The stadium was loud. And then they played Mariah Carey, All I Want for Christmas Is You, and it was awesome. Because everyone gets
Yes.
hyped to that
Yeah.
song.
And then we
Yeah.
also had this filter where like we made our fans like the Grinch, like their faces were replaced by the Grinch's faces.
Mhm.
It was a beautiful thing, and I really enjoyed that, being able to see that. But yeah, man, Christmas is 23 days away.
All right.
Quick math.
Yeah, my 21st Christmas, or 20th Christmas. I'm terrible at math, actually. So thanks
your
for
age.
that reverse psychology. But other
That's
than
all
that,
for now.
Yeah. We hope you guys enjoyed. Remember, like, comment, and subscribe, and then also follow our Instagram at Full Court Press. I think there's 2 underscores after it, but it doesn't matter. Just type in Full Court
You'll
Press
find
and
it.
give us a follow. It'll be all of our clips that Kins puts together, and then YouTube, LJ will
And
be
I've
throwing
seen
that up.
some of y'all will literally scroll past their videos and not like them bitches. Like the fucking video.
They're not gonna like it when you talk to them like
No,
that.
look, Gotta be real with them. Gotta be cut and dry.
Kansas, please like our videos.
Nah.
Come on.
Come on.
Puffy face.
All right.